Vice President JD Vance outlines America's first approach to AI at Paris summit. Vice President JD Vance told European and Asian leaders in Paris on Tuesday that the Trump administration was adopting an aggressive, America-first approach to the race to dominate all the building blocks of artificial intelligence, and warned Europeans to dismantle regulations and get aboard with Washington. On his first foreign trip since taking office, Mr. Vance used his opening address at an AI summit meeting hosted by France and India to describe his vision of a coming era of American technological domination. Europe, he said, would be forced to choose between using American-designed and manufactured technology or siding with authoritarian competitors, a not very veiled reference to China, who would exploit the technology to their detriment. The Trump administration will ensure that the most powerful AI systems are built in the US with American design and manufactured chips, he said, quickly adding that, just because we are the leader doesn't mean we want to or need to go it alone. But he said that for Europe to become what he clearly envisions as a junior partner, it must eliminate much of its digital regulatory structure, and much of its policing of the internet for what its governments define as disinformation. For Mr. Vance, who is on a week-long tour that will take him next to the Munich Security Conference, Europe's premier meeting of leaders, foreign and defense ministers and others, the speech was clearly intended as a warning shot. It largely silenced the hall in a wing of the Grand Palais in the center of Paris. Leaders accustomed to talking about guardrails for emerging artificial intelligence applications and equity to assure the technology is available and comfortable for underserved populations heard none of those phrases from Mr. Vance. He spoke only hours after President Trump put new 25% tariffs on foreign steel, essentially negating trade agreements with Europe and other regions. After Mr. Vance left the hall, not staying to hear the European response, the United States and Britain declined to sign the summit's communique. Mr. Vance started off his speech with a direct reference to the AI Safety Summit, held at Bletchley Park, the grand estate in Britain where codebreakers cracked the German Enigma codes in World War II. That conference ended with a dire warning of serious, even catastrophic harm, either deliberate or unintentional, stemming from the most significant capabilities of these AI models. 28 nations, including the US, vowed to work together in an inclusive manner to ensure human-centric, trustworthy and responsible AI. Mr. Vance went out of his way to separate himself from that summit and the speech given by his predecessor, Kamala Harris. "I'm not here this morning to talk about AI safety," he said. "I'm here to talk about AI opportunities," warning that America's response to the challenge of AI could no longer be self-conscious or risk-averse. "The AI future is not going to be won by hand-wringing about safety," he said. At a moment that Mr. Trump is disbanding government boards and units that were hunting down disinformation, much of it from Russia, China and Iran, Mr. Vance made the case that American technology firms were still dealing with massive regulations in Europe. At the same time, Mr. Vance warned about how hostile foreign adversaries have weaponized AI software to rewrite history, surveillance users and censor speech. But he did not explain how to monitor or remedy that issue. European officials knew roughly what was coming, even if they did not know Mr. Vance would be so blunt. In the opening day of the conference, France's President, Emmanuel Macron, spoke of a need to simplify European regulation. He has announced over $100 billion in private investment in France on AI technologies, and the power to generate them. That is a huge figure for France, but a fraction of what the private sector is spending in the United States, and what China and its state-owned firms and startups are committing. Mr. Vance got to the heart of a central dispute that is likely to widen in the coming year. The European Union regulates tech companies much more forcefully than the United States. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for future updates.